Is quitting alcohol tough choice? Well, that depends because if you are coming from where is the choice and where is actually the real decision, right? Because if it's not going to be the decision that I made a decision, I want to go somewhere, then you are coming up to the point where you are in between. Well, I'm thinking about something and becomes more as a consideration that I would like to do it, but it's not actually the final decision. So then we have something like, okay, imagine like you're sitting in a car and you have a handbrake on, and you put it in a gear and you want to drive off, but the trouble is the handbrake is keeping you on. So that's only that your consideration. So you're not going to be able to go where you want to go, whatever your destination is, because you have something that's holding you back. And basically speaking, is something that you're actually controlling, right? If I release that handbrake, I'll be able to go. Now, why I am afraid? I am afraid because it's a new territory, right? So far, if you think about it, so far I've been just drinking. So this is all I know. And now I'm supposed to not to drink. And that is the toughest decision. It's just because you don't know what's next. It's a new territory. But you can think like from any other perspective. How many times in life you've been doing something new and it was concerns? I don't know. I mean, I know I have to do it. Maybe it's a decision like, you kind of like, I'm sick of being sick of tired of being and drunk and drinking all the time. I'm wasting my time. My life is actually shredding from all the directions, all the places, and I know inside it doesn't feel good. Or maybe it's the case of that, you're actually dropping down a little bit on the health, right? So you're not pretty much, it doesn't serve you anymore. It's actually stopping you from you being you. You're not happy with yourself, and deep, deep, deep inside that you're supposed to do something, and you know actually what it is. But the trouble is, you never been there, and that is that scary moment when the consideration comes into it. You gotta do it. Some people, they've done it, and maybe when you listen to them or you're seeing them, everything looks so easy, so nice. Maybe you've got some kind of a ways or trials where you've done already that you try to go and that didn't work for you. So you're thinking it's extremely hard. You might actually even listening people around you telling you it's very hard. And truly, frankly, honestly, well, for some of us it is. For some of us it's not. Questionable call if someone tells you the truth, because that's the other side of the story. We have people which they saying they're not drinking, but they actually drinking behind the door, behind the closed doors. No one sees it, right? It's the question of being honest. But let's stick to the point that these people or you listen to them, they actually clean. So they like right, they honest, they actually did it. So, and you tried it and it was difficult and it was tough, or maybe you've been constantly in between the decisions. So let's say you start going nice and dry in that perspective, not actually being sober yet, and then you've been dropping off and you're going back to it, and it's just like maybe thinking that maybe there is a way that I can still drink, but I'm not gonna have them bad effects on me, on anything which was actually destroying my life. The problem is, I don't think so. I don't think so. If you are in the point when you actually start, having alcohol taking over your life, and that, feeling of being drunk or just having some alcohol is stronger than anything else around you, I think that's the point that you're supposed to realize or think to yourself, you know what? Maybe, yeah, frankly, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have alcohol anymore in my life. But from that perspective, that is very, very tough decision, because at the end of the day, the alcohol addiction is one of the strangest and toughest things to deal with, and we can't just copy and paste some stuff. We have to, unfortunately, go and find our own way. But to do this, actually, we have to give ourselves the time when you're away from alcohol, and then we realize who we are, how the things are working for us, what is best for us, and what will be the best choice. But to do that, you have to stay away from alcohol, unfortunately. I would say the first 6 months is roughest, toughest. I mean, if you survive first 6 months without, and you're gonna be uh, kind of try to police yourself, trying to keep like a CCTV camera around yourself, so you actually monitor anything you do in it, and it might be worth it even to keep some kind of a, let's say one of the tools could be like a diary. You're writing down anything, how you felt a specific day, what was happening to you, and then you might have a chance to read that later on the next day or whatever. Every time you're feeling like not right, going back to your notes, and you can kind of look on it from not from the middle of like you standing in a situation, but you being like more like next to it, so you have a kind of a better view because you see something from different point rather than from being somewhere inside when you're not able to drop the right look on something, and then just like looking from the side, you're thinking, okay, fair enough, I was there and there, I was doing this and this, and maybe that I should change, or maybe there is something that make me feel this way, or if I will take something away. So anything which was happening to you, you kind of record it for yourself, so you can always go back to it and see what you can change, what you can do. And you will see as well within the first 6 months, like everything changes around you. People, situations, how you approach this stuff, defending yourself, seeing like maybe I shouldn't be in specific place, maybe I shouldn't be around specific people. I know it's not always easy because sometimes you have some connections like jobs, family, you know, siblings, relatives, whatever you want to name it. Yeah, I know, but there's still something that you can maybe a little bit twist and change and see how it goes. And the good realization of the first 6 months is the further you go, it is wobbly, but it shows you the more time you spend away from alcohol, you start seeing other side of it. Okay? So you have these reflections, you have these situations, you got all the things around you which you never been before, and then you actually rediscovering as well, do you know what? Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, you know. You have to take away a couple things, like you got no hangovers right now. The On the beginning, yes, your body will be like going with them cravings and them withdrawal effects and stuff like that, which you can deal on a different manners. You might go see some doctors. You might get some like directions what you're supposed to do, or maybe you have to do some kind of a on the beginning where you are some kind of a detox, to be supervised by some doctors or nurses or whatever the place you can use to. The thing is, before you start doing anything, you need to do some kind of a preparations for yourself, because many people jumps straight up directly to it, jumping on emotions, which I understand. I mean, we're like human beings, we're filled up with emotions, and there's a natural case that you maybe for the after the last party or something, it went up so bad, you becoming to the point like, I need to change something, I'm doing sudden change, this and this. But maybe if you are actually will check yourself in terms of to see what you could expect for the first period of time, and then you might find some kind of a mechanisms or ways to defend yourself from whatever will happen, but you didn't know about it because you decided to jump directly into the deep water, right, of the sobriety or dryness, or however that will start first, because everyone has a different path. But then if you will prepare yourself, I know it's impossible to prep for everything because some stuff might show up, some stuff might not show up, some things you might experience, some things you might not experience. Anything which you won't experience, even better for you. So it's more beneficial, making your your route more, your path more smooth. But you don't know that, right? We don't know that until we're actually going to do this. So in the first 6 months, you becoming on the point that if you're gonna crack any time within that 6 months, you've got always the good way of returning as fast as you can back to it. So if you're gonna have a relapse, because you might have, then it comes down as quickly as fast. You coming back again for not drinking, for keeping yourself at check, for doing anything which keeps you away from it. Anything. Basically speaking, staying busy is one of the most important part. So you have to figure out for yourself what could work for you, what could not work for you. But that's why them diaries or little notes you write about yourself, how you're feeling, what you're doing, how it went, and then that could be like a good benchmark as a start as well for yourself, how to go things. The first 6 months as well has something like, some people are getting into the trap because they're thinking, if I don't drink 3 months, 4 months, or hey, come on, I have been drinking for 2 months, right? Why did I crack? What was the problem? Well, it's a few things. I mean, if you're going on a cold turkey, for some people might work, for some people might not work. It's just because, you're not ready for some certain things that are coming up. So if you are like high temper person, which, you are like kind of a snapping very quickly, or you have a, short fuse, because the people are like this. And so far you have to remember the alcohol was the only kind of escape for you from anything. So that's always will be kind of in a head, like, the best option to go do it, and I'm gonna be all right, or I'm gonna be relaxed, and or maybe even thinking like, it's fine. I mean, what if I could like not drink for 2 months, and then maybe I'll drink something, and then I will go back again for 6, 8 weeks, or anything like that looks like some kind of a perfect choice, because you tend to lean into the things you really know. All right. So the new territory, new stuff, new approach, and the kind of a learning, how to handle things, how to handle that new territory. What next? That's another big question. I mean, it's just like, so far as okay, I know only I've been drinking, all right? So yes, you will have some bad memories, some good memories as well. And that's why this is like being a little bit confusing, because, I had some parties, I've been to some, places, and I spent time with some friends, it was cool. I mean, sometimes I slipped, it was something not cool, or maybe a blackout at some parties, or maybe get me into some kind of a trouble with some police forces, or whatever the stuff is, or maybe you end up later in a court somewhere being, charged for something, whatever. But the thing is, this is why that stuff is being so confused for people, because you're thinking like, if I will get myself away from getting so bad, then I will not end up, in them kind of a cranky situations, and I'm gonna have only the good memories and the good stuff. But the trouble is, with people which they getting, hooked up on alcohol, it's never gonna work. It's never gonna work, and everything is down to your mechanism, to your behaviors, to the stuff you're doing with the alcohol. How much and how often it was the situation that you promised yourself, I'm not going to be drinking, or I'm going to just limit the stuff. And how often it was actually the situation that you said to yourself, even starting pretty much well, controlling everything, what you thought is a kind of a control, then you actually end up even more, body situation that you actually, assume it's going to happen, and it didn't happen. So that assumption was actually killing you, because you've been thinking, I got this, I got this, I got this. But let's say after, few drinks, two more, you hit it, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots, whatever that was, whatever is your number, then that different personality starts kicking in anyway. So, it's not common thinking anymore, no common sense, no common doing right, and everything goes very, very, very bad. But that's the thing. I mean, new territory, I don't know what I am, I don't know what to expect, and maybe there's a chance that I can control it. Maybe I can control it, but we know it doesn't work. This control, it's lunatic thinking. It's never gonna happen. It's way impossible. That's why we have them people which they like could be staying like 5 years away from drinking, and in a matter of once they decide that I'll go for the drink, just a one or maybe a two, then suddenly they ended up exactly in the same amount, or even more, they've been drinking before. Like them 5 years just went to the bin and you never seen them before. That's how it works, unfortunately. And then it will take you a bit longer to going back to not drinking again, because you're gonna be trying again procrastinate. You will try again setting up the dates, maybe from the birthday, maybe from that time, or maybe from this time, maybe from the beginning of the month. Maybe you're gonna do some kind of a numerology, like, it's like, if I will come up to my lucky number, so if I will set up, if I add all the numbers from the date, it will become like 5 or 6 or 7 or 9 or 10. Then I will do it, because that's gonna be like, bullseye shot. I mean, anything like that, and it never later works. And why actually that becomes toughest? It's maybe because, a little bit because of us ourselves. So what I mean by that is, if you look on what the depression means and what the anxiety is. So with alcohol, that's very common, because to be depressed, to have a depression, it's usually in a kind of a something which was in the past, right? The anxiety is always in the perspective of worrying, majority cases, worrying yourself about what is going to be in the future. So I've got the past with the alcohol. Now, anxiety is just because I'm going to be without the alcohol, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know what's going to be. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I know what I would like to have, but I don't know if I will get it. So I would say the best approach will be, well, stay with your head where your feet are, okay? And they are right here, right today. And your plan for today is, I'm not drinking, okay? So stop thinking about, because when you announce somewhere that you don't drink or you don't want to drink, people don't understand that. I mean, they know you from the point when you've been drinking a lot, and you've been, maybe you've been the light of the party. It is like that, it might be that you've been like that, all the good laughs and all this stuff. I mean, I know later probably that party went not pretty much well okay for you, as in because you had too much, but you've been this guy, you've been this, this lady, this man who was doing all the funny bits and bobs, and the party was nice and wild, and maybe a little bit too wild. But the thing is, you worry about what was behind you, because none of the people probably around you, they want to actually take that information on board. So maybe they think, you need to stop, and maybe he's got some kind of, or she's got some kind of a health issues. But maybe no, it's just me being sick of tired of drinking. That's all it is. I don't want to do it anymore. It doesn't serve me well. And then the anxiety is just because, you heard the situations that, you stop drinking, you're losing all your friends, and all the other things which gonna, happen to you, and now you're gonna be miserable because, the people or people you're dealing with, they drinking, you're not gonna be drinking, so you're gonna be kind of outsider, they don't want to deal with you anymore because it's not this or that. And then when for instance, people which they doing through not drinking, they have always the idea of, we concentrate on today. I'm waking up today. I'm not making any plans, right? My goal is not to drink. And I'm waking up today, and I'm concentrating on today. Today, all right? You're waking up in the morning. You're doing all your morning routine. You look in the mirror. If you have hair, you actually, just make sure your hair looks fine, and then you're going through your day, and you forget about anything else. Drinking is nothing which you are concerned with. You're doing your day, you're finishing your day, you're going to sleep, you've got your tasks achieved, whatever you've done it today, work, family, whatever that is, the business, not the business, or even just doing nothing, but this is your bit through the day. Then you're going to sleep, and you wake up on another day, and you repeat your routine, and you're going again and again and again and again. Just concentrate on the moment, and concentrate on what you would like to do, rather than thinking about what it was and how it's going to be, because that drives that anxiety and depression with you. Okay? And yes, you decided that you're going somewhere, right? You know what that is, which is sobriety for you. You don't want to drink anymore. And concentrate on that. This is all you want. Don't worry that anyone around you might think, because you're drinking for 20 years, or people telling to you like, it's impossible for you to do that, or, you've been always drinking. That's their opinion. And their opinion is nothing what you're supposed to be concerned with, because you should be concerned with what you want to do. And what you want to do, you want to get sober. That's all you worry about. Another funny bit is, if you look in your life, right? Whatever happened or whatever you thought is gonna happen. How many times you've been thinking about some stuff that you've been worried about, and that things went very well, or the things you've been, anxious about, they never actually happened. It's many things like that. Because we have a tendency to worry too much. That's the biggest problem. So you kind of occupied your head with them thinking, not positively, in perspective that you worry what's going to be and this and that and such. That the moment when your head stays with your feet is very important, because if you concentrate yourself on a negative stuff, you will get negative stuff. If you're going to be concentrating on positive stuff, you will get positive stuff. So that's the only way to doing it. I'm not saying being, crazily positively, because it's like you see your gutter is leaking and you start thinking, oh, that's not a problem, gutter is leaking, so I will leave them leaking, and then I have wet walls and suddenly the mold in the house. No, we're not talking about this. We're talking about looking forward into the future by being present at the moment, okay? Because I know what I would like to do. I'm doing this right now, okay? And what I try to achieve, and I'm going towards that goal, is a sobriety. And I'm forgetting about anything which was in the past, which is important, because where what you've been doing in the past leads you to the place when you don't want to be, okay? But you have to bleach yourself out, okay? Whatever happens in the past, you can't change it, okay? Whatever happens in the future, you can kind of plan it. I don't know if it happens or it won't happen, but only by doing what you're doing right now, that's how you build your future. So in that perspective, it sounds a little funny, but it's kind of a nice thinking. Maybe a little bit crazy for some people, but if you look like this, if I'm speaking to you right now, 5 seconds later, that will be the past. All right? The present is right now when I talk to you. And the future is actually 5 seconds ahead of you. So you see what I'm talking about? So the past, present, and future is actually the same. It's constantly moving. All right? The time works like this. And the same, you can use that kind of a force energy for yourself if you want to stay sober. So you keep doing what you're doing right now. And what you're doing right now, you're not drinking and being sober. And you can always look back to your places and it's like in perspective, like if you keep in your diary, for instance, yeah, because on the beginning you will kind of that could kind of help you, because you will understand as well who you are. If you look on perspective who you've been as a person who's drinking, that's all you know. Now you're supposed to rediscover yourself as a person who's not drinking, so you don't know actually who you are. And if you will have some kind of a trace that you can look in yourself, what you're doing, how you're acting, and how you're reacting on all that monkey business which is involved in that will help you to understand who you are. Because the alcohol, what it does as well is, I know we are human beings and we like to gather ourselves around other people, right? So because we learned that if you look on human being, you drop the human being in a forest, right, or some bushes in places, the chances of survival are not kind of a big, right? It might be attacked by some wild animal or something like that. But when you drop 10 people, they start making a group. And they might build some kind of a civilization in that place, or build a little village, which becomes a little city, and so on and so on. And that's understandable, because we like to have people around us. That's why when you drink alcohol, for instance, or any gatherings in social places, it feels okay. It feels okay. It feels right. Now, when you're taking yourself away from them, things like alcohol, then you kind of try to, and you're actually seeing as well that people don't want to interact with you. Specifically, we're talking about the people who are actually drinking alcohol, and you might have as well not feel right in the place, because if you are sober and the people are kind of moody or drunk around you, you're not gonna feel comfortable, right? So that's why that seems odd. And then people might kind of not deal with you because you're not in the state as they are, as in drunk, or you might even start moving yourself away from them because it feels odd to you. But that's you knowing now the other side, of that coin, that that okay, these people are becoming louder right now, they're annoying, or someone comes to you constantly with the same story and they're repeating themselves. It's like if we go to some kind of a, let's say, family gathering and stuff, and you got the uncle or auntie who just keeps talking the same stuff all the time when they got, let's say, drunk, because that sits on their back and they're not happy with it, so they have to release it. So so this is how them things are working. And for you, as you've been drinking and now you're not drinking, you kind of start seeing both sides. So your knowledge is bigger, right? And it's like impossible to unsee it anymore, because once you get into some certain path on a certain way, you understand more, you see more. If that makes you better, it's not about being better. It's about, knowing that the alcohol itself, it doesn't work for you well. And now that's why you're making a choice and you're making the decision that you want to stop, because it takes you into the place that you don't like anymore. Maybe on the beginning you felt like it, but once you're sticking pretty much long enough, or maybe heavy enough within it, because it doesn't have to be, the alcohol is not always about the distance, how long you're drinking. It's more about the volumes you taking it in you, how close you to it, and how much you taking it. Because there might be someone who's going to be drinking just a few beers, every couple of weeks, and it's going to be fine. And there are people like that can go even to the rest of their life. They might be living 70, 80 years old. Someone's going to be drinking the same amount of, alcohol, and it's going to live only 50. Everything depends. Chances are different. We don't know what's going to happen. But there is the point when it starts actually making you tired. You're completely tired. You're completely wired all the time. And inside of you, it's not going well. It doesn't work for me. It's kind of destroy my life. I can't get the things done. I'm unable to, I just cannot do the things. Everything is, it's okay because you're thinking it gives me that smoothness, I'm stressed and I'm drink, that stress goes away and stuff like that. But this is only the chemicals working on your brain. It's not the reality, because on the next day, for instance, you're waking up, you feel like a crap, but all the problems are still there. I truly hope that this video was helpful for you, so give you some little bit of understanding when you are, or maybe there's some stuff you never thought about, and maybe start giving you some kind of a clearance and better understanding for the road you're picking up. Hopefully maybe it's being dry and become later sober. Maybe you're going completely for sobriety. The most important thing is, I do believe in you. If anyone did it, you can do it. So you can be the king or a queen of sobriety yourself. All right. If you're interested with more, you know what to do. I wish you sober evening, sober day, sober week, sober month, whatever you're going for. I shall see you later.